So hey guys, this is my weekly report for May 15th. I'm not on the water today. I'm sitting under my side of my house under the carports where my boats are. I'm sitting in the new 20-foot Duckworth 20-foot Advantage. Had this boat out a couple times. Thing is really nice, really stable. Um, it's got it's loaded to the hilt, and it'll be up for sale probably. I think it's next year in March. So if you're looking for a really nice boat, you might want to hold off, save your money, because this one's going to go up for sale probably around in March. But anyway, talk to you guys a little bit about what I've been doing this week. I just got this boat, so I took it up to Berryessa. You got to have the thing decontaminated, but since this is new, they let me on the lake, and I've been went there with the intentions to catch some kokanee, and we were hooking the heck out of salmon. So we were trolling a J&J Dodger. He gave me these new ones. They're pretty wide. They have a really wide kick to them, and that day it was probably blowing probably 15 to 20 miles an hour, and I had Denise and who else did I have? I can't remember who the heck went. Roger, and we probably had close to 30 hookups. We lost more than we caught, but we had kings, we had trout, we had bass, we had crappie, and cokes. So it's crazy, just a mixed bag and a lot of action. Then I went back up the next day because I wanted to put more hours on this motor, and it was blowing harder. And we only had 14 hookups, but we had some nice fish. The salmon were really nice. And Denise lost a great big one the second day. I mean, that rod was just down, and just line was just peeling out. Got it halfway back to the boat, but then it swirled on the top. It couldn't even jump, and it came off. So, she has a good record of losing big ones. So anyway, the other places I've been going to Delta. I've been finding the black bass are half spawned. Certain areas they're spawned out, but a lot of the areas they're not spawned yet. Caught a lot of fish. Caught them on chatterbaits. Caught them on sinkles, and even caught them on frogs. So the bite down there has been really good this year. The striper fishing has been pretty decent too. Been running in the schools. The other day we caught quite a few, but they're not real big. But there are guys catching big ones. Rick's been down there jigging. He's been doing real good, and I'll talk to you that a little bit later. But I've been throwing the ballsy swim bait still and the Z-Man with a half-ounce jig head in, and catching a lot of stripers. Okay, so ocean fishing. Bluefin haven't heard too much. Not a lot of guys going after them. The 50 Phantoms closed for the rockfish, so the 20 Phantoms open now, and so you can go, shallow water fishing. But one of the things coming up is that they're going to give us a salmon season this year in the ocean. Probably not in the river, but they're going to open it to the ocean, and it's kind of funny how they're doing this because they're going to open it up. The first days that it's going to open is only June 7th and 8th, and they put a quota. So there's a quota of 7,000 fish. So once they hit 7,000, then they're going to close the fishing. What are they going to do? Put people, biologists, and people at boat ramps or whatnot. What about but guys that dock their boats that carry the fish up, throw them in their cars? I don't know how they could really do a honest count on there, but they're planning on doing it. That's the way what's going to happen. So you got June 7th and 8th to go out, and what if the weather's real rough? Then nobody could get out. Some people will go out in dangerous conditions, but they shouldn't because you only could. The dates are 7th and 8th, period. So if they don't hit the 7,000 fish quota those 2 days, then it opens again July 5th and 6th. Now, everything I'm telling you, I would look it up on DFG's Fishing Game's website and make sure that they don't make any changes or anything. But if they don't hit that 7,000 quota, then they'll open it back up on July 5th and 6th. Then they're having a fall season, which is going to be September 4th through the 7th, and the quota is 7,500. So if they don't hit that quota, then it's going to open again on September 29th and 30th. So those dates are locked in right now, and it's probably going to happen those days. So you might want to write it down or go on the website, Fishing Game's website, and look. No silvers, can't keep no silvers. And if you hook a steelhead, you gotta let it go. You can't keep them. It's only for the king salmon. And it doesn't look like there's going to be a river season. So there's no river season, and only those picked dates for the ocean. And once a quota is hit, that's it. Now, if you come into a boat ramp and you have a fish salmon that doesn't have an adipose fin, that one little fin between the main fin on his back and his tail, if that fin is gone, then it probably has a chip inside the head. So if there's a biologist at the ramp or game warden or whoever, and technically if that fish, when they're checking you and it doesn't have an adipose fin, they could take the head. So you can't tell them that you can't have it. So according to the season, according to the law, is that if you have one and that fin is gone and there's a chip in there, they're going to cut the head off and take it. Okay, so all the other salmon rules before barbless hooks, the distance between the hooks is 5 inches, I think. Check your regs. And if you're mooching, then you got to use circle hooks. So all the same rules, but just the dates that it's open and closed. Okay, so San Francisco Bay, halibut. So if you look at your tide book and you see all these minus tides, that means that the water is rushing. I mean, it's really going really fast. And halibut seem to hunker down into the sand. So the days I think in May, I think probably 3/4 of the month of May, you're going to have really fast tides. So if you want to go halibut, you got to make sure you look on there and make sure that you're on a tide that's not going fast, or you're in one of those 5 or 7 days that there's no minus tides and the water's going slow. You'll have a really good halibut day. Otherwise, I would go drift the rock piles, go drift Treasure Island, look for birds diving around. The live bait receiver's open, so go get your live anchovies and get a 3-way and just drift. You'll catch the heck out of stripers. I mean, minus tides are really good for striper fishing. And in the bay, you just look for the birds or look for those party boats and head over there and drop that thing down there. You'll have your limit of stripers in a heartbeat. So, if you're looking at wanting to do some of this and even salmon to go out when the dates are open, you might want to contact the 6-packs like Jay Lopes, Ricky Acosta, Steve Mitchell, or get on the Caldon with James and, you go out and catch a stripers, halibut, or salmon, if the weather permits. So the 20 Fathoms rock fishing is open now. So you guys could get out there. Probably one of the good ones would be out of Bodega, with Rick Powers, and go out there and surf perch fishing. I heard it's been pretty decent outside the beaches, outside San Francisco. It's just season's open now, so you can get out there and go do some of the surf fishing. You'll probably start catching some stripers out in the beaches over there down south, outside the Golden Gate. They'll start heading out there pretty soon too. After they spawn, they go out in the bay, hang on the rock piles for a while, and then they head out the gate. Okay, stripers locally. There's lots of stripers in the system. There has been this year. This year has been one of the best in a long time. There's fish in San Francisco Bay all the way up to Calusa. There's a lot of area to cover. There's a lot of fish in the system right now. A lot of the fish in Calusa are spawned out now, so they're spent out and they're headed back now. The Sac metro area, you can anchor up and throw powers and sardines, and I'm sure you could do real well. I would, anchor up in like 8 to 12, maybe 20 feet at the most. You're probably going to be close to the bank. Some of the boat ramps I know, like Garcia Bend's all silted up, and I heard Miller Park is still silted. So you want to make sure before you go down there that you can launch. You can't even launch at Garcia. That thing is all sand. But I'm pretty sure you can launch at Discovery. So you just have to travel in the boat a little further. Rio Vista, there's a ton of fish down there. Trollers were getting them on the west bank on Yozuri deep diving with the white trickworm on the back. They've been pretty successful in catching them. I was there last week and I was jigging them, um, catching. One day I had J&J tackle, so I had John and Jessica with me, and we put in over 80 fish. And then the next day I went back with a couple of clients, and we had these guys. One of them never even touched a bait casting rod before. First fish he hooked, he backlashed it, and I mean it was just a crazy day. But we put over 40 in the boat, and that day was really rough. And I know Blade Runner, you guys know Rick Teagues. He's one of the best spooners around. He's been going over there out of 3 Mile on the San Joaquin, and he's been getting limits. He told me the other day he left here at 1, he was back at 4. He went by himself, and he's dropping a 2-ounce Blade Runner spoon down there, and he's probably fishing in 25 to 35 feet of water, and this fish are averaging 8 to 12 pounds. And then he went back next day, and they slaughtered them again. So there's obviously a big school of fish down there, off the San Joaquin River. So when he could do that, I just asked him, "Hey, how'd you do today?" He just shows me a picture of his graph, and don't have to tell me what he did. I already know. Shad, it's usually the shad will follow the stripers in. I would definitely, if I want to go shad fishing, I would probably stick around Freeport area, down below the bridge, the mouth of America and the mouth of the Feather. The 1-inch champagne or chartreuse scrub, a lot of these fish are suspended. Sometimes they're on the bottom. You have to try different depths. And a lot of guys are using sabiki rigs. So remember, you only can have 3 hooks. So they'll put a sabiki rig with the weight on the bottom, like you're drop shotting. And a lot of times you take that and you just start out with like a 1/4 ounce, cast out as far as you can, and just put your rod in the holder and wait. And in 10 minutes you don't get one. I see them on the graph. I don't get one. I bring it up and I'll put, 1/2 ounce. Then I'll put 3/8, and then I'll put 1 ounce until once you get it in the distance, you'll get a hit every time you throw it out. It's that quick. So the shad run is just starting. American River hasn't yet because those are the last ones to come up. So the first batch will come up, will go up to Sac, Feather, and then later, in probably 2 weeks, they'll start going up to American. So the shad season is just about ready to bust wide open. Bass fishing, it's good. Like I said, I've been going down Delta. Half the fish are spawned, half aren't. It's really good this year. I've been having really good success catching a lot of big ones. I was out the other day catching them on chatterbaits, sinkholes, and frogs. So, the bite's just good right now. So if you want to hit the Delta, get out there and start catching them. You should do pretty good. The lakes are really good. Berryessa, Clear Lake has probably been the best lake the last couple of months, for big fish. I talked to a lot of different people. They're getting them on small stuff. They're getting them on frogs. They're catching them every which way. But there's a lot of good fish that are being caught. There's some of these terms are taking 40 pounds to win them. So, the bite up there has been off the hook. Berryessa has also been really good this year. I mean, they had tournaments there 2-3 weeks ago that were taking 34 pounds to win. So basically there's, the bite's been really good. Don Paganelli guides up at Berryessa, and I talk to him all the time. He's been smashing them. He's been going out there and catching a lot of his fish on sinkholes and drop shot. Denise was up there with her mom and sister the other day, and her mom caught one 8 or 9 pounds, and Denise caught one 7. Mom caught it on a drop shot, and Denise caught hers on a brush hog. The brush hog bite's been really good up there at Berryessa this year. Earlier in the year, I was up there at bass fishing. I did really well. Folsom's been really good. I think anywhere you go right now, you should be able to catch bass. It's just that time of the year when it's really easy. Um, any kind of little swim bait like Kitex or drop shotting 4-inch worms, you shouldn't have any trouble catching them. Other things, trout fishing. You know, the Sears opened a couple weeks ago, and the fishing has been really good. It's been snowed up there opening weekend, but there's still a lot of the guys that got out there still caught a lot of fish. But the overall the bite's been really good. Berryessa has been still kicking out those Eagle Lake trout. I know Big Nate's been killing them up there still. Um, we hooked a few. You know, we're kokanee fishing. I'm not pulling my lures going 2.8 or 3.5 miles an hour. I'm, down there at 1.5. But it's really amazing to me is I'm trolling for kokanee and I'm hooking more salmon than I am kokanee. It's just crazy. So one of the things also is like at Berryessa, they're very strict on your boat being tagged properly, having that green tag on there, from them. Um, I was with a client with electronics the other day. He has a houseboat there, Cal, and he the guy put the green tag on too tight, and his boat was bouncing around, and the tag broke off. And he doesn't go anywhere else. He has a houseboat there. So then I met him up there. He goes, "Hey, I can't get on the lake. They won't let me." So he goes there 3, 4 times a week. Has a houseboat there. They know him personally, and that's how strict they are. The gal called the manager, and he said no. So we had to wait till the decontamination guys came, and he had to pay $80 to have his boat decontaminated before we could launch it. They're just super strict, and I don't blame them. So anyway, up there, any of the lakes now, they're going to start doing all the lakes. They're going to have uh, for New Melones, they're going to have a decontamination center because if they don't, then you have to go up there, put a tag on it, red tag, and wait 30 days before you can go back. 30 days. Shoot, the season might be over. So anyway, call the lakes that you're going to. Pardee and Comanche still have no boats. You can't anything, kayaks, nothing. I heard you could take a kayak on both of them, but you can't take one on Pardee or Comanche. No watercraft, period. You can rent a boat there, but you cannot launch any kind of watercraft. So any of the ones lake that you want to go to, I would make a phone call first because you don't want to drive all the way up there and them telling you, oh, you got to put a red tag on here or, your boat's not decontaminated and turn around and have to go back home. What a waste. So make that phone call. I heard Jenkins closed, so just make a phone call and save you a lot of trouble. Kokanee fishing, New Melones, crazy hot, and you can't even launch your boat there because if I took my boat there, I have to put a red tag on it, and they say, okay, see you in 30 days. 30 days, I don't go back in 30 days. So basically, I heard they're going to build a decontamination center there. So I would keep calling them, ask them when they think they're going to be done so you could get up there because Kyle Wise guy's up there and he's been killing them. I mean, he leaves his boat in the water there, and he's taking clients out and they're limiting out by 9 o'clock, and he's catching them up to 17 inches. That's unheard of right now. So there's a lot of big fish there to be caught, but you can't even go there unless you hire like Kyle or wait 30 days. Bowler's Bar, the kokanee there, a lot smaller, obviously. Berryessa, I've been going there. I haven't been, the most I caught, is two. I caught two kokanee the other day. It's just, the salmon were just eating my corn off all my lures, and I couldn't even get the kokanee. So some of the lakes like Union Valley, I don't know, Stampede, all these lakes, that, we go kokanee fishing at, they're right in the midst right now of trying to governing some laws about the mussel and decontaminations and all that. So real quick soon here, I'm pretty hoping that they're going to all honor the green tag. They basically have to test all the lakes. Maybe use the same company, test all the lakes. If the lake has any signs of mussels in it, quarantine them. And then make your rules super strict. But as of right now, it looks like most of the lakes are clean. So if you got a green tag, you should be able to go to any lake, not just one. It makes it very difficult for the regular anglers that want to go fishing all the time. Like you can't. So they have to get together here pretty quick. Crappie, Clear Lake, big ones come out of there. I mean, there's like records coming out of there, 3 or 4 pounders. Berryessa, they were biting pretty good. I caught some trolling that were over a pound. I caught 3 one day. A lot of the ones that Denise was catching while she was bass fishing, they moved out. They spawned and they moved out a little bit deeper. Usually takes them a week before they start biting good again, and they'll go on a feeding rampage. And you got to go deeper. You might have to go 25 to 35 feet of water to find them. The Delta, I've been throwing spinner baits for bass and catching a crappie here and there. So, I know that you can go on some of these back end sloughs and also do good on the crappie. So, another thing, a lot of guys have been asking me about the American River, the steelhead. It's probably coming to an end, the summer steelhead, but they're still catching them. So I know Kyler Perry and Austin Wilson, they guide on there, and they've been catching them. And they're probably doing striper trips now, and they're going to get some of the spring run stripers and the local yokels that live there. And then pretty soon it's going to be all crazy for the shad. I know they went out, Kyler went out the other day for shad with a friend of mine, and I think they got 4. So, when you go out shad fishing in the afternoon for a couple hours and you don't get 20 or 30, then there's no fish around. So 4 fish is just too early. You got to give it about another 2 or 3 weeks. Wait till the weather starts getting hot. So anyway, if you guys need a boat or you need any work done on them, or you need electronics, downriggers, any of that thing, go see Gone Fishing and tell Mark that I sent you over there. And they got a good staff over there to take care of you real quick and get you back on the water. And then every Saturday, I'm on California Sportsman's radio on 1140 on the AM dial. I go on at 6:40, and then every first Saturday month, I'm in the studio, so I'm on there at 6 a.m. Once in a while, I'm on there at 5:45 with Kent on Ultimate Bass when I'm in the studio. And then, when I'm there, I'm usually talking to everybody from 6 o'clock to 8. Otherwise, if I just call in like normal Saturday, then I'm on at 6:40. So you can hear what I have to say, what I'm telling you now and what happens in between. I'm still doing the consulting on electronics. I've been having quite a few jobs. I go out on you, meet you at the boat ramp. Don't put the boat in the water. I check your software updates. I look at your transducer, make sure everything's good. Go over all the electronics with you, and then go on the water and show you how to run them. So, and I also do like consulting on fishing too. So like if you want to learn how to punch, then that's all we're going to do. I'm going to show you how I do it, how I look for them. Do I use my electronics or do I not? Do I use live? Do I not? And then just basically getting you dialed in. I had a client last week that wanted to learn a little bit about chatterbaits and really dialed them in. It's just so many little things that you could do to make you catch fish. And other than that, if you're looking for some consulting, you can just call me. I shut my website down, so I don't have no more website. And my phone number where you could text or call me is 916-761-7594. That's 916-761-7594. If I don't answer, just leave me a message and I'll get back to you. So hit that like, subscribe button. If you want, leave me a comment. I'll get back with you in a couple days. And I'll see you guys next week.